Right punch, uppercut, let's go. Huh. Oh. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I was just training my boxing robot here for my next big fight. I just gotta hold a noisy boy, huh? I'm totally not in crippling debt or anything and making poor choices with my money to be able to pay back all the people that I owe. And I'm not Hugh Jackman. Welcome back to another episode of Home Media Reviews. This review is on Real Steel. Let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into the history section of Real Steel. So remember last week when I said that the King's Speech had a really short history section, and I didn't think that any other movie that I was covering in this season was also going to have a really short history section? Well, I completely forgot about Real Steel because this also has a really short history section. Real Steel was first released in theaters on October 7th, 2011. I was 12 years old when this movie came out in theaters, and I didn't hear a lick about it. I don't remember seeing any trailers, any advertisements, even any newspaper adverts, because we were still getting the newspaper at this point in time. It's been years since we canceled that. Anybody else remember the newspaper? Do you all still get the newspaper? I don't get the newspaper. So I didn't see this movie in theaters, which kind of sucks because I really like this movie and I kind of wish I would have got to see it in theaters. But honestly, as a 12-year-old, I don't think I would have appreciated this film as much as I do now. Real Steel was then released onto DVD and Blu-ray on January 24th, 2012. There was a standard DVD only release, a Blu-ray and DVD combo pack, which had a slipcover with a blue lining surrounding the poster art, and there was also a Blu-ray slash DVD slash digital copy combo pack. Blue lining, gold lining instead. This was a weird trend back then that Disney was kind of jumping on. They also did this for the release of Iron Man 3, where they had a Blu-ray and a DVD combo pack, and it had a blue lining around the slipcover, but then they also had a Blu-ray, DVD, and a digital copy combo pack with gold lining around the slipcover's artwork. I don't understand the choice about why they had two different Blu-rays. As far as I know, the features and the film itself is not changed. I think this was also still the era where your digital copies came on a separate DVD disc, so that version with the gold lining might have had 3 discs. I don't know, I just picked up whichever option was cheaper on eBay, and my copy is the version without the digital copy, which doesn't really suck all that much because it wouldn't work today anyway if I had it. And that's it. That's the only time Real Steel was ever put out on Blu-ray, at least from what I gathered from Blu-ray.com. It might have been reprinted once or twice to keep fresh copies on store shelves, but this has not been reprinted a lot in the vast history of Disney's home video releases. So that wraps things up for the history section. Again, absurdly short, but we have to move on now to the close-up section of Real Steel. Alrighty everyone, here's your close-up look at Real Steel. We only have one copy to look at here, despite there being a myriad of releases of this film. This is just the standard Blu-ray that does not include the digital download copy. It's just the Blu-ray and the DVD, which you'll see up here at the top. Blu-ray plus DVD, big Blu-ray disc logo up there on the in the middle of it. The front poster includes 2 of the robots from the film and Hugh Jackman in a fighting pose. You've got a 2-disc combo pack here, plus Real Steel second screen, bloopers behind the scenes, and more. Hugh Jackman, Real Steel, it's Rocky with robots, a heartwarming movie from Pete Hammond from Box Office Magazine. I really like this poster. That's part of the reason why I wanted to see this film for so long, is because I was really just intrigued with this poster and the tagline. It's Rocky with robots. Like, what? It sounded really cool, and it turns out the movie is actually really good, spoiler alert. Blu-ray disc logo, Real Steel. We have a Touchstone Pictures logo along with DreamWorks Pictures and a portrait of Hugh Jackman down there on the bottom. The back, 2-disc combo pack. You got your first disc listed here, Blu-ray feature film plus bonus. All your bonus features listed there. And then disc 2 is the DVD. You don't get a lot of bonus features on that, but you do get some. Spectacular, a perfect combo of action and genuine heart. Jeff Craig, 60-second preview. Hole for your barcode to poke out of. Blurb. Screenshots with the main robot there, overseeing it all. Cast and crew information down there on the bottom. Take the slipcover off. It's the same artwork underneath, except the blue border has been removed. Spine is the same. Back is pretty much the same, except you get a few more technical specifications down there. If we pop this sucker open here, we do get an insert. Let me back the camera up a little bit here. There we go. That's better. We've got an insert here. Get the best in high definition for your HD TV. This is basically just explaining what Blu-ray is, because this was pretty early on in Blu-ray's lifespan when this movie came out, or at least it was starting to be adopted more into the mainstream when this movie came out. And some other inserts here. Royal Purple Synthetic Oil. The official lubricants of World Robot Boxing. Oh, it's like a fake advertisement for, like, the oil in the film. That's cool. And then congratulations, you now own Real Steel second screen. I'm pretty certain this will not work anymore. I'm not going to try it for this whenever I watch this movie again for the HMR. Your DVD is pretty standard for a Disney-produced and released film. Touchstone is Disney. And then your Blu-ray is standard for the Disney artwork at the time, that being cut down in the middle, screenshot, or in this case a squished up version of the poster art on one side, and then just blue with the title on the other side. This Blu-ray is kind of a time capsule though, when you think about it, because this was early days into Disney's career on Blu-ray, and this is what they used to look like back then, and we all know it's dramatically different from how they look like nowadays. They've got that stupid multi-screen edition bullshit on the front of it, and the 4Ks, they don't look that bad compared to the standard Blu-rays, but I'm rambling about how Disney has changed and such, and now they're apparently getting rid of physical media entirely, or at least they're on their way to doing that. So anyway, let's go ahead and move right on to the menu tour. Alrighty everyone, here we are for our menu tour of Real Steel. We're starting with the standard DVD, because we all know in these parts we go from least quality to best quality in terms of PQ. So, our menu has our main robot looking at himself in the mirror. Very simplistic, no clips from the film playing in the background, as would be standard for a Walt Disney home video release. We have play, bonus features, scene selection, sneak peeks, and setup. For our bonus features, I can't imagine there's much here on this disc. Making of Meadow Valley, building the bots, audio commentary, and bloopers. Okay, so we get a few featurettes on this DVD. Most of your bonus content is going to be on your Blu-ray disc though, but for the DVD fans out there, there is a little bit of behind the scenes information found on this disc. For scene selection, each scene has a little title to go along with it, so that's nice. We're in a robot sparring arena, or I guess I should say boxing arena, since this movie is about robot boxing, and we have 20 scenes in total. So 20 scenes is a decent number for a movie that just barely goes over the 2-hour running time, so that's good. Let's see what we have in the setup menu. We have languages, subtitles, and register your DVD. For languages, we have a 5.1 mix for English, a 2.0 descriptive video service mix for English as well, a French 5.1, and a Spanish 5.1 mix. And for subtitles, we have English, French, and Spanish. Now sneak peeks, I'm not sure if this is just going to play the trailers that come when you first put the disc in, or if it's going to give us another menu, so let's find out together. Nope, no menu, just a little... Nope, no menu, just going to go straight into the sneak peeks. Is this Firefly? That's Nathan Fillion, isn't it? No, it's Castle. Okay. I didn't know Nathan Fillion was on Castle. Alright, welcome back everyone to the Blu-ray menu tour for Real Steel. We have the same exact menu, pretty much. It's almost astounding how similar these menus are. There's very subtle changes. For one, the Blu-ray is in HD. Obviously, the DVD is not. But we have this little thing here with arrows on the other side of it. So that's different. We still have our same options, though. So for bonus features, we have the Real Steel second screen ringside with director Sean Levy. Countdown to the Fight, the Charlie Kenton story. Making of Metal Valley, Building the Bots, those two were on the DVD. Sugar Ray Leonard Cornerman's Champ, Deleted and Extended Scenes, Blooper Reel, and Info. So already we have a ton more bonus features than we have on the DVD, but those featurettes that are on the DVD are also here on the Blu-ray, which presumably mean that these are in HD, so that's good. For scene selection, we keep the titles from the DVD, so that's nice. I think we have the same number of scenes that we had on the DVD. 20 scenes in total, and it even has a little taskbar down here at the bottom to let you know where you are in the film in terms of runtime. For setup, languages, we have a 7.1 master audio mix for English. That same English 2.0 descriptive audio is on here as well. And then a French 7.1 mix. Unfortunately, Spanish still gets screwed with only a 5.1 mix, but at least the French get to hear their audio in a crisp, more clear HD. And here we are on the subtitles menu, and we have the exact same subtitles as on the DVD, English, Spanish, and French. Let's take a look at what the sneak peeks will do. I think it will just play the trailers from, the exact same trailers as before. This is the same trailer for Castle that was on the DVD. And I guess that's it, because I just hit the skip button, and I guess that's the only sneak peek that's on here is the trailer for Castle. I don't know why I'm laughing. I have no idea if Castle is good or not. I've never seen it, never heard anybody talk about it. So if you've seen Castle, let me know down in the comments. Let me know if it's good or not, because I don't know. With all that being said, though, guys, let's head on back and answer the 5 main questions, as always. Alright, so we're back from the close-up. Now it's time to answer the 5 main questions, as always. Number 1, where can you pick this product up? Just like the King's Speech, Real Steel has not been on store shelves in years. I have not seen this movie on a store shelf in a long-ass time, so anywhere from used DVD and Blu-ray shops, pawn shops, anywhere on the secondary market. You heard me say earlier on, I picked my copy up off of eBay, which was a pretty good deal considering it came with the slipcover. Number 2, is this product still being printed nowadays? Hard no on that one. It's been a decade this year since this movie came out in theaters, and it's almost been a decade since this movie was put out on physical media, which sucks. It's not even on Disney Plus, even, which I don't know if this movie could actually go on that streaming service, considering that DreamWorks has a production credit on here, but it was produced under Touchstone, which Disney owns Touchstone, so I don't know, maybe they think this one's too violent to go on Disney Plus, but then overseas they have other stuff from Fox that's on their streaming service that we can't actually access here in the United States. It's called like Disney Plus Star or something. Hey Disney, give us that option in the United States, please. That would be really awesome if you would stop withholding content. Number 3, should you pick this product up? Real Steel is an inspirational story about a former boxer who finds out he's got a kid. Well, I guess he doesn't find out. He knows he has a kid. He doesn't know how old he is, though. He has to take in his kid. He fixes up old robots, and he uses these robots to fight in boxing matches, which I guess at this point, I think this movie takes place in 2020, actually, now that I'm remembering it. I think that people boxing is not really all that common. They use robots now, which is a really cool concept. I feel like at some point in our very own world nowadays, this is a feasible concept. I think people will start actually training robots once robotics becomes more viable as a means of consumer products. I think people will actually start using robots to fight in boxing matches. And that's when the robot uprising will probably happen. The boxer, whose name is Charlie Kenton is played by Hugh Jackman, who many of you probably know from the X-Men trilogy and other subsequent X-Men films. He plays Wolverine. It's one of his most popular roles. But I actually think that his character here almost rivals his performance as the early versions of Wolverine. Not his later portrayals like in Logan and Days of Future Past, but I think his performance here is on par with his earlier performances as Wolverine. Hugh Jackman actually does a really great job of showing you that he's really down on his luck, and he really just can't make the right choice when it comes to fixing up robots or taking matches. He just continually makes bad choices that leads him down this road of debt. And you really feel for the guy during the first couple of fights when his robots get completely decimated. And Hugh Jackman's partner in crime throughout the movie is his son Max Kenton, played by Dakota Goyo. This kid actor, he's not the best, all right? He's decent. He gives a pretty okay performance. There's a couple of times when I'm almost cringing at some of the lines that he's got to say, but that's really not the kid's fault. It's more the script, because the script doesn't know how to write a convincing child actor or give him compelling lines. But the kid does what he can with the role, and I think that Goyo is a pretty compelling character throughout this film. There's a scene in a robot decommissioning facility, or I think it's maybe a robot parts junkyard, where Max and Charlie are trying to scavenge for robot parts, and Max falls down a cliff where there's water running everywhere. That scene actually convinced me that Goyo was giving a good performance. I wasn't really into Goyo's performance up until that point, and from then on, he's really good throughout the movie. Another Marvel actor is in this movie as well. It's Anthony Mackie, who plays a runner of an underground robot boxing ring. His name's Finn. I don't know, I didn't really get much from him. He's a good presence here. I like him in it. And Evangeline Lilly is also in this movie too. The Wasp, another Marvel actor. She was good. I liked her fairly enough. I didn't think her weird romantic subplot with Hugh Jackman really should have been in this movie at all. That kind of felt like it was forced in and came out of nowhere, but she is good in the film. Man, I can't get enough of Kevin Durand in this film. He plays this weird cowboy dude that Hugh Jackman owes money to. He really hams it up for this movie as the country-esque cowboy guy, and he's awesome in this film. He might be the best performance in this movie just because of how crazy and whacked out he is. But all in all, this cast is pretty good. I enjoy them on the whole. The strength of this movie, though, comes from the relationship that Max Kenton has with this robot that he rescues from that junkyard scene. This robot's name is Adam. A-T-O-M, not A-D-A-M. This robot doesn't have any character per se, but he's pretty cool, actually. He's a shadower, as they say in the movie, so Max can program him to follow his moves, and he's able to remember the boxing moves that Max shows him, and that's how they train. It's a really cool concept. I think the whole robot boxing thing is my favorite part of this movie. It's a really cool idea that's explored really well throughout. There's one thing, though, that I don't understand about this movie. Is robot boxing illegal? Because Anthony Mackie runs a weird underground boxing ring, but then later on in the movie, there's the Real Steel Championship. Actual robot boxing seems legitimized. So why is Anthony Mackie running this weird underground boxing ring? Maybe that was just the sense I got off of it. Maybe it wasn't supposed to be a weird underground hiding from the feds boxing ring, but that's the vibe I got off of it from the way the sets were built and the way that they were lit as well. It just seemed really shady what Anthony Mackie was doing. But then later on, boxing with robots seems legitimized, so I never got a sense of whether or not it was legal or not. I mean, I guess it would be legal, considering that it's broadcasted on live television, so I guess it's legal. But then again, I don't know. Anthony Mackie's seemed like it was illegal. Maybe I missed a dropped line here or there, but I don't know. That part didn't seem like it was fleshed out all that well. I think the robot designs are pretty cool. A lot of them are unique. Adam looks straight up like a punching dummy that you would see in a karate dojo or something. He looks really cool in his design. I love how his face is set up. It's kind of like a net, and then his mouth and his eyes light up through it. It's a cool design. I love how Zeus looks as well, this big hulking monster. He kind of looks like a dark trooper from Star Wars, if you know that from The Mandalorian. That's what he looked like to me, at least. And the CGI in this movie is really well done. I was surprised at how good these robots looked. I never had a moment where they looked like they were out of place. This is one of the best blends of CGI and live-action practical effects that I have ever seen. These robots look really good. All in all, Real Steel is a really great story about a father and a son reconnecting through the aspects of robot boxing, which is really awesome, and I'm glad the robot boxing is here. But at the same time, it does feel kind of like a tacked-on element as opposed to the plot line with the father and the son and the former boxer and everything. That the robot boxing seems like it was more of a very elongated subplot, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of focus that's given to the robot boxing, but by and large, this is a character story with Hugh Jackman and his son. And I like the movie for that. And I like the movie for the robot boxing. But if you're coming to this movie just to see robots punch each other, you're going to see a fair amount, but not as much as you would think. But again, that is not a detriment to Real Steel, because you really care about the human characters and how they interact with these robots. The robots, in and of themselves, don't have any character. They're just a avenue for these humans to have these boxing matches, but you care about these humans. I went into Real Steel thinking that I was gonna get a robot boxing match movie, and I think for about 50% of this movie, that's what this is, but the other 50% surprised me because I didn't think that I was gonna care that much about the relationship with Hugh Jackman and his son. You know how Hollywood seems like it's obsessed with making films of video game characters, but then they throw in the real world in there, and they give you these humans that you just don't give a crap about? That's not Real Steel. Real Steel is able to make you care about the human characters while also having a cool robot. I keep wanting to say that that's a subplot, but it's really not, because that brings down the whole aspect of the robot boxing. Real Steel is more like you get a B plot of the robot boxing, but you also get a stellar A plot with some human characters that you actually care for. And that's why I feel that Real Steel is an underrated gem, because when people talk about movies with bad human characters that they don't give a crap about, and these weird CGI creations that they would really like to see more of, they never talk about Real Steel and how this movie is able to blend both of those plot lines together and make it work. It's not a perfect movie. Far from it, actually. There are some pacing problems, and like I said, some of the performances, especially with the main kid at the beginning of the movie, they could have been executed a little bit better, but by and large, Real Steel is an underrated gem, and I think everybody who has an interest in this movie should see it. At the very least, you should watch it for the spectacular CGI, because these robots look fantastic, and the robot fighting, really good too. Really good choreography there. So yes, I recommend that you should watch Real Steel. Absolutely, I do. Number 4, where should you pick this product up? Well, you should pick it up on eBay, considering you're probably not going to find it in stores. I finally broke down and bought my copy on eBay when I couldn't find one in an actual store. And while I was looking up the cast list for this movie, I found out that Real Steel is actually on Netflix. So that's why it's not on Disney Plus. It's currently over on Netflix. I guess there's a licensing deal there. So if you have Netflix, you don't have any excuse to not watch Real Steel, because it's right there for you. And number 5, what price should you pay? Well, the DVD's not worth much at all, so I'm not even going to give you a price on that one. The Blu-rays, though, it doesn't matter which version that you pick up, because they're the same disc. So for either version, I'd say about $10 would be worth it for that. So guys, that wraps up this home media review on Real Steel. Like I said, this is truly an underrated film because nobody talks about it nowadays, and it's really good. I love how these two plots are able to mesh together, and you actually care about the humans. Been a decade since this movie came out, and nobody talks about how good it is at meshing two plots that seem like they shouldn't have anything to do with one another, but it brings them together and it actually works. Next week, we are sticking with our theme of live action and sort of underrated films. This one that we're going to talk about next week, though, it got some critical praise, and a lot of people were talking about it when it came out, but now that it's been out for a while, I don't hear a lot of praise for it now. I've heard this film described as a dad's favorite movie, and as a father of a little black cat and a very large pit bull, I have to say that, yeah, this is a great movie, and it's one of my favorites. We're talking about Ford v Ferrari next week. I hope that you will be there to join me, and I especially hope that you actually watch the movie so that I don't spoil it for you, because it's really good, and you definitely should. Oh no, I spoiled the recommend section for next week. It's almost like I choose movies that I like to talk about in this show. I hope to see you all next week for Ford v Ferrari. Thank you all so very much for watching, and as always, good night, everybody. Oh, it is so hot in this closet. I swear, man, I need to get like a fan or something in here. I'm sweating as I'm recording this video. My shirt just came off, so I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so hot in here.